There's a saying I heard the other day that stuck with me, and it went, life isn't all roses and butterflies, but there are roses and butterflies. And I think with all the doom and gloom we see every day on our news feeds, it's easy to forget that. And that's what I hope these videos do really, is to remind you there are reasons to be hopeful and good is happening out there in the world. And that's exactly what we're going to look into today. So without further ado, here's some good news in April that you might have missed. A landmark treaty was signed by Indigenous leaders from Aotearoa, New Zealand, Cook Islands, Tonga, Tahiti, Hawaii and Rapa Nui that gives Wales legal personhood. This means that Wales will be recognised as a legal entity with rights, such as having freedom of movement, freedom to a healthy ocean, and even freedom to express their own culture, including their language. It means companies who carry out unsustainable practices will now have to change those practices. Maori conservationist Mary Takoko stated, "Whales aren't just resources to be exploited, but sentient beings and our ancestors." I just foraged some more roses so I could have one rose per good news story that I mention. So that's one down, 14 to go. Brazil and France have joined forces to create a $1.1 billion investment programme aiming at halting Amazon deforestation by 2030. That's just over 5 years away. The funding will be used in part to develop economic opportunities in the rainforest, which will help it thrive and recover from deforestation. Deforestation in Brazil has dropped by up to 1/3 compared to recent years, so let's hope that this new era of cooperation and international funding can continue to build on that and show how countries can come together to solve environmental issues. 2 down. Pre-loved clothing is taking off around the world. In the US, the second-hand clothing market grew 7 times faster than the brand new clothing market, and the global demand for second-hand clothes is expected to double in the next 3 years. The growing demand is driven by higher prices of brand new clothing, but also greater environmental concern among shoppers as more people are becoming exposed to the huge toll that the fast fashion industry is having on the planet and the treatment of the people involved in the industry too. That's 3 down, but I'll just place this one here. Scotland just passed a bunch of new measures to help protect eagles and other rare wildlife. It's called the Wildlife Management and Muirburn Bill, and it aims to end the illegal killing of birds of prey through stronger regulation on grouse shooting and improve the conditions of upland habitats. Groundskeepers who allow hunts on their land have been known to poison predators such as golden eagles and hen harriers to make hunting grouse easier. Moorland in Scotland is also regularly burnt to increase grouse populations, but sometimes precious ecosystems like peatland that lock away huge amounts of carbon are burnt as part of the process. So this new bill aims to tackle bad practice and help Scotland's beautiful habitats and wildlife prosper. Gently does it. Antarctica's marine life just got some brilliant news. Do you get it? The government of South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands announced massive new no-fishing zones spanning a whopping 166,000 kilometres in the Southern Ocean, which is about the size of Bangladesh. This announcement also included a ban on krill fishing in an extra 17,000 kilometres, which is great for species like the chinstrap penguins and humpback whales that rely heavily on krill for nutrition. We're going to travel to Cambridge for this next story, but before we do, if you're enjoying the video so far, if you can tap that like button and even be a legend like Halon1313 and leave a comment to help boost the good news in the algorithm, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So Cambridge University did something pretty substantial this month, but I'm going to let
Mia Aldo-Levy here from Cambridge Climate Justice
tell you all about it.
Cambridge University has temporarily stopped accepting donations from fossil fuel companies. Replacing big oil's funding is so important for academic integrity and unbiased research. This is a huge win for the climate, and it makes Cambridge the first university in the UK to halt financial relationships with oil and gas companies. This was won by years of campaigning by students, staff and the local community, and it shows that climate activism really can work and make a difference. Now it's time to finish the job, make the decision permanent, and to get the careers service to also stop advertising dead-end fossil fuel jobs. There's a lot to do. Join your local climate group to be a part of creating positive change. It really, really can work.
And now I'm in some woods. A group of 2,000 elderly women in Switzerland are making history. The group, called Senior Women for Climate Protection, took the Swiss government to court for violating their human rights, claiming they were not doing enough to address climate change, which is putting them at risk of dying during heat waves, which due to their age and gender, they're especially impacted by. and the European Court of Human Rights agreed with them, and this ruling now indicates that Switzerland has a legal duty to take greater action on reducing emissions. Whilst this ruling only applies to Switzerland currently, it could start a snowball effect of more communities around the world standing up for their own human rights. Cheers! Next story. In the US, one of the largest environmental projects in history is now underway to restore Florida's iconic Everglades. The first step of the $20 billion project is to reconnect the Everglades with the nearby Lake Okeechobee via a reservoir, after the two were disconnected in 1949 by the Army Corps of Engineers in an attempt to drain the Everglades for farming and construction purposes. Reconnecting the lake will return the natural flow of water to the environment, lowering the water level and allowing native species to thrive in their natural habitat. This one's seen better days. Also in the United States, a recent report by Clean Investment Monitor found that the US's emissions reduction rate has doubled since the introduction of the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. There was $239 billion in new investment in the manufacture and deployment of clean energy, clean vehicle, building electrification, and carbon management technology in the US in 2023, which was up 38% from the previous year. This has put the US on a much better course to achieve their climate targets. However, the country does still remain one of the highest emitters on the planet. And now it's time for the quickfire section where I read a bunch of good news stories to you from my phone. After 2 decades of negotiations, the Haida Nation and British Columbia have signed a landmark agreement to return 200 islands of Haida Gwaii to the indigenous group. This important act affirms the Haida Nation's ancestral rights and fosters a brighter future for its people. A new report from the Global Wind Energy Council found that new installations hit a record high last year, with the top 5 markets for new installations being China, United States, Brazil, Germany and India. Charity Women for Women International in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is helping women enforce their constitutional equal rights to regain access to land. This is changing social norms and expectations of women and helping them gain greater financial independence. Greece became the first country in Europe to ban bottom trawling in all its marine protected areas by 2030. This is where big heavy fishing nets are dragged across the ocean floor, destroying precious habitats and releasing carbon that's stored in our oceans. At the same conference where this was announced, the European Union also announced it'd be investing $3.7 billion to advance sustainability and conservation in 2024. So that's a bonus story for you. The Ocean Cleanup has also launched its most ambitious project yet, deploying the advanced System 03 to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch to help massively speed up removing plastic from our oceans. The System 03 is around 1.4 miles in length and is capable of cleaning an area of ocean equivalent to a football field every 5 seconds. And I'm throwing in an additional good news story into this quickfire section about a study that came out that shows that more people actually care about climate change than we think. But I'm going to let my friend Hannah from Our World in Data, who's an expert on this, tell you all about it.
Hi Sam, it's Hannah Ritchie from Our World in Data here. This month I wrote about a new big study that came out looking at global attitudes to climate change across the world. What the study found is that in every single country, the majority of people supported climate action, were worried about climate change and thought that we should do something about it. They were also very supportive of governments taking action and were also willing to contribute some of their income to solving this problem. What they also found in this study, and actually syncs with a lot of other studies in this area, is that we have this perception gap. We always underestimate how much other people in our country care about this problem. This matters because the people around us want to see climate action, so we shouldn't be shy about it. And it also matters for governments. They should be more ambitious about putting climate policies in place because the majority of people in their country would support them.
Before the last good news story, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to some good news with me. And if you've enjoyed this video, if you can subscribe or you've already subscribed, that's absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much again. And I want to say thank you to my patrons who help me bring these good news videos to life. And if you'd like to help me make these videos even better for the price of a cup of tea each month, you can become a patron by tapping the link in my description. Not only will you get a cheeky shout out in my videos, but you'll also get access to a bunch of more good news stories throughout the month to help you feel a bit more optimistic. Now, on to the last good news story. Nature is officially being recognised as a music artist for a very good reason. An initiative called Sounds Right has been launched by the Museum for the United Nations, where artists who use natural sounds in their tracks, like bird songs or raindrops, can choose to feature nature as an artist, and a share of their royalties will be distributed to help protect and restore nature. Ellie Goulding and London Grammar are among the first artists to feature nature on their tracks, and it's hoped that this simple initiative will allow $40 million to be raised for nature over the next 4 years. On that note, let's end the video with some nature music, and I'll see you same place, same time next month. Thanks so much for watching. The music isn't that. Go and get outside in nature, go on. And now I've got to collect all these bloody roses.